Stugotz here for Blue Apron. 51 weeks of the year, Blue Apron does meal kits, but they've learned from some of their most loyal customers that they've been hacking Blue Apron to make their favorite side. So this year, Blue Apron has created special Thanksgiving side kits just for that reason. I cannot wait to make the stuffing. Oh, do I love stuffing. I love stuffing. It's my favorite side for Thanksgiving. Customize your recipes each week based on your preferences. Blue Apron has several delivery options so you can choose what fits your needs. And there's no weekly commitment, so you only get deliveries when you want them. Each meal comes with a step-by-step, easy-to-follow recipe card and pre-portioned ingredients and can be prepared in 40 minutes or less. Blue Apron's freshness guarantee promises that every ingredient in your delivery arrives ready to cook, or they'll make it right. Check out this week's menu and get $30 off your first meal with free shipping by going to blueapron.com/Stugotz. You'll love how good it feels and tastes to create incredible home-cooked meals with Blue Apron. So don't wait. That's blueapron.com/Stugotz. Blue Apron, a better way to cook.
With the Citi Double Cash Card, you get 1% cash back when you buy and 1% as you pay. That's like the joy of getting 2 W's on the road or catching the home run ball without spilling your drink. Double boom. Double the love with the Citi Double Cash Card. Apply now at Citi.com/doublecash.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
Greg Cote of the Miami Herald is in with us. There are a number of things we want to get to. The Celtics win last night, 16 in a row for them. LeVar Ball, apparently CNN and everybody else was introduced to LeVar Ball yesterday. And I remember that initial flirtation with that with that guy. You remember how magical that was at the beginning?
Oh, yeah.
CNN learned that yesterday. CNN was like, oh, this fascinating LeVar Ball character. So he'll say anything. Let's do 22 minutes of television with him. And then afterward, be all indignant about the things that he said and the things that he did. He just did. It was a professional wrestler on CNN. We'll get to that in a second. They got Charlie Rose. We'll get to that in a second.
They got Charlie Rose.
Charlie Rose.
Charlie Rose got Charlie Rose.
I know. I understand, but it's funnier the way I said it. I'm well aware of that. If you don't know, just check the internet. Charlie Rose was wandering around naked, and he shouldn't have been doing that, obviously. The Baker Mayfield thing, I want to get to that in a second, because the idea that it's kind of a punishment, but not really, it's interesting that Baker Mayfield, they're just trying to scrub the personality out of him. He's the closest thing in the sport right now to what Johnny Manziel was. Johnny Manziel was the closest thing in the sport to what those old University of Miami teams were, and they will at every turn try to scrub anything that resembles personality out of the players.
Well, when the public disagrees with what the player actually did, because Baker Mayfield has been acting like this basically his entire career at Oklahoma. Maybe not to the extent to what he did, against Kansas in that game. But I hate how Oklahoma handled this, because he was emotional yesterday. It's his final home game. He can't start that game. He'll come in after a play, afay the backup quarterback hands the ball off.
He's not allowed to be the captain.
He can't be the captain, and he was emotional about it. And I'm certain he's thinking to himself, "Hey, this is how I've been my entire career."
Stugotz, that means the punishment hurts. And so while you can be cynical about it and say, "Oh, what are you doing? You're sitting him for a couple of plays," clearly the punishment hurts.
No.
It is a punishment of degrees. Oklahoma is choosing to punish that way.
Right. I disagree with Oklahoma. I understand. I believe that the punishment hurts. I believe that he is hurt by the fact that he cannot be captain and won't start in his final home game at Oklahoma. I disagree with how Oklahoma is handling this. I think it's too much. I think it's ridiculous. I mean, what did he do? The Kansas players did not shake his hand to start the game. He reacted in a way that was funny, but also reacted in a way that suggested, okay, I'm going to get you. And he did. He did what Baker Mayfield does, and now he's being suspended. They're taking away something that's very important to a kid who was given a lot to that university.
Okay, but let's by his own hand. Literally. Right. Okay? He's not an innocent here.
Right. I'm not saying that he's an innocent. Okay. I'm saying the punishment does not fit the crime for me.
For those who don't know what the crime is, Baker Mayfield grabbed his crotch in a suggestive fashion, some might call cocky. What happened, Guillermo? I didn't deserve.
That's an unfair advantage.
Yeah. Other people, it tarnishes the great legacy, the Hakeem Nicks laugh. Some of them deserve to be more subtle laughs too. You only know one speed.
Right. I think Mike should have full control over this.
Yeah.
You guys wanted this, yeah?
I didn't want anything. I mean, he asked for it. I mean, I'm jealous that he has it and I don't. But
let's listen to Baker Mayfield here being emotional because he grabbed his crotch and then he was suspended.
Not starting's, it is what it is, but not being a team captain is something so much more. And so, and it's hard because it'd be hard if it was a regular game or not, but it being my last one here ever, it means a lot more. It's going to be tough.
Baker Mayfield.
Oh, now everybody likes it. Is that right? Oh, when I give it to others, when I am a benevolent God with my Hakeem Nicks laugh, everyone likes it.
Precisely.
But when I give it to myself, no, that's unbecoming. This is, I have now reached, right now as we sit here, this is me at the height of boiling rage. How dare you college football people take the one guy in the sport who's a professional wrestler who's planting flags at midfield and grabbing his crotch and turning him into that blubbering child because you broke him. You jerks and jackasses, man. Like, how dare you scrub the personality so vigorously out of that sport that this kid on his senior day is sitting here getting crushed and blubbering because he grabbed his crotch. That was by accident. That was by accident. I didn't mean that for that to go off. That was just me pounding the table at the height of
funny.
Yeah, there was nothing funny.
Gurgling rage.
Yeah. Wow.
Seriously.
That's on his head coach, man. His head coach caved in.
All of them.
No,
it's
it's
the
his
culture.
head coach.
Stugotz, it's the culture. It's the culture of scrub all the personality at every turn over this helpless kids who have to abide by every stupid, unjust rule. And then when they show personality, scrub that out too.
Wait, a crotch grab is an acceptable part of personality, quote unquote? I don't think so.
Okay, Greg, like if we're representing higher education like they'd like to pretend, no. But when it's this impure thing where everyone in academics is getting all the money from the athletic department that may be corrupt at its core because sneaker representatives are giving all the coaches money and FBI has to be involved in the investigations, when that's the case, yeah. When that's the case.
That's a non sequitur. What's that got to do with whether a player on a field is
because they're pretending it's sis boom bow college football romantic sportsmanship. That's what they're pretending it is, and what it is professional football disguised as amateur football. And professional football does it too, by the way, trying to sell us purity when it's impure. Right. They try to scrub the personality out of the sport as well in the name of sportsmanship.
But most people, including college football players, go to college to learn how to be a professional, and he's one of these bad boys that needs to learn how to mature and be a professional.
No, but you can't be a bad boy in college is my point. You can only do it when you have the power of the pros, when you have money. You're not even allowed to be a bad boy in college. Johnny Manziel was the bad boy of college, and they kept tiring him out his last season because he was taking private planes to go fundraise for them. Like, when that's the construct and you're selling it to me as sis boom bah, like, get that out of here. That kid has personality. That kid is on his way to being an interesting quarterback in the NFL, and all of the culture, the media, the coaches, all of the Army's rigidities are going to make it so that he becomes cliche monster. Who's the guy that's the quarterback? Is it Keenum that's just spitting cliches right and left?
It's most of them,
and it's Trubisky.
Right.
It's Trubisky that they
Goff.
you just ring them of all their personality, and by the time they get to the pros, they're just these marketing robots.
My point is, you can have a personality, just keep your hand off your own crotch. That's all. And keep your hand off others' crotches as well, by the way.
Thanks for
You
clarifying that.
You said that so much better than I did. You really did.
Thank you.
I just used words and lecturing and sermonizing and
you
just
cut right to it.
Cutting right to the chase. That's what I do.
Cutting it.
Thank you.
Keep your hands to yourself, but not there.
Right.
Right. You can keep your hands to yourself, but in certain regions.
Sure. Yes.
And do not give your hands to others if they're unwanted.
Right. Because what he did, by the way, gets him in trouble in the NFL as well, not just in college football.
But
Greg, punishment fit the crime? I mean, honestly. I mean, you're stripping the kid of being the captain
debatable.
and starting on his final home game because of that?
I think that's debatable. That's the question. But don't tell me that crotch grabbing is just part of his personality.
I mean, isn't it part of who's the professional bowler who does that? The suck it move. The professional wrestler too. Wasn't there a professional wrestler? Who are the guys who do the crotch grabs?
The crotch chops.
The crotch chops.
D-Generation X. Yeah.
Okay.
There are only two.
It was Pete Weber, by the way.
Thank you.
There are only two sides to this topic, and Stugotz has found a way to take 5 of them.
Yep. Proud of it.
Dan Le Batard.
Well, coffee is America's drink. A man is never more a man than when he's got a cup of coffee in his hands. Although I love it when I see a woman drinking coffee.
Stugotz.
Coffee means hot coffee. Iced coffee works against the coffee brand. Coffee is hot coffee. It can be black, it can be sweetened, lightened, but coffee is hot coffee. But unquestionably, that's America's drink.
Can't be a Frappuccino?
No,
Right,
no,
right.
no.
Does it not go without saying that would be an excellent back in my day if you believe in this so strongly? The idea that coffees have mutated into all of these flavors that are unacceptable to you?
I think I did one of those. One of my most popular ones. Coffee!
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
It is Thanksgiving week. This is Mail It In week. Mail it in. It is for everyone. Guillermo, put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Should Charles Barkley's Auburn statue be fat?
I was thinking about that. They're going to do it at Auburn this weekend. Auburn plays Alabama. It's going to be a big game, obviously, and they're unveiling a Charles Barkley statue. And I wonder how you go about doing that. Do you consult Charles? Do you just do a real-life depiction of Charles? Because if so, it's got to be overweight, the statue with no rings.
Well, that was unnecessary. He was fat in college. Really?
Yeah.
We're going to get to Greg Cote's Thanksgiving hosting tips in a second. Greg Cote he's a very good host of either galas or Thanksgiving dinners.
Yeah, P.I. Gala, not gala.
But before we get to that, I want to tell you guys a story here real quick. Friday's show, this is how it happened. In the noon hour, I believe that we had the worst segment in this show's history at the very start of that hour. And I thought it was so bad that I asked Stugotz to go back and watch it with people, live watch it after the show with people on Periscope, on Twitter, and just critique it so he could hear how bad he was and how bad I was and where it is that it all went wrong. So
You were bad.
So listen to this. Thank you, Stugotz. Well, it's funny you should say that. So,
Oh, no.
I go to do highly questionable. Stugotz does whatever it is that he was doing in here for those 15 minutes where he was recapping the show and was supposed to be critiquing his performance, my performance. He walks out onto the highly questionable set right before we were starting, leaving for the weekend, points at me with a sausage finger and says, "They said I was great, Dan, and they said that you ruined everything and you were terrible. Have a good weekend." And he walked out the hall, and I didn't think of it again. That's the last I thought of it until this text rolled in.
Oh, boy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and now Stugotz knows where everything's going to fall apart. The text reads, "Can you guys all go over how on Friday, when Stugotz was recapping everything that went wrong in the worst segment, he was just ignoring the segment that he was supposed to be recapping entirely, reading Periscope comments, and breaking away to compliment himself on his own takes?"
That happened. Those hearts are intoxicating, man. I can't focus. I can't focus on anything when those hearts just keep popping up. And it's, hey, we love you. I love you, too. And I love those hearts.
Time now for Greg Cote's 5 Thanksgiving hosting tips here. He is an expert host. Look, his son is very excited in the background there. Chris Cote, very excited because his father's a very good host. So if you have people coming over, unwanted people, that uncle who's always saying racist things, if there are a lot of people there that you don't want, but you've got to be a good host anyway, Greg Cote has some tips.
Yes. These are 5 tips. They're serious. Number 1, this is a traditional holiday personified in a Norman Rockwell painting, for crying out loud. Keep it traditional. Color outside the menu box on a Sunday in April, not on the 4th Thursday in November. Nobody wants to try your pomegranate-infused coffee-rubbed turkey. 2, If you were feeding a crowd, like me, augment your traditional oven-baked turkey with a deep-fried Cajun bird. Always the hit of the day at my house. Season a 12 to 14-pound bird heavily with Cajun spices. I use Tonica cherries. It should be a reddish brown when you submerge it gently into a deep pot of 350-degree oil and cook for 3 minutes per pound. It will not be greasy. It will be a plate everybody's going for. Number 3, take that bizarre tin can-shaped blob of jellied cranberry sauce and put it down the garbage disposal. Make fresh cranberry sauce. It's easy. Simmer real cranberries in a mix of water and sugar until they start to break up. Add orange juice and orange rind and cook down to the consistency you want. You have a sweet yet tart cranberry sauce that laughs at that tin can. 4.
Hold on. Guillermo, put it on the poll. Is Greg Cote making you hungry? Put it on the poll, please.
Number 4, menu cards. This is a nice touch, a classy accoutrement that I do for Thanksgiving and Christmas dinners. Take a little 5x7 index card, paste on your printed menu, and augment with a couple of little holiday photos. Place 2 on your table at opposite ends. Very classy touch.
Is yodeling associated with Thanksgiving? Is this Thanksgiving music?
I like it.
This is a chef whistling in the kitchen.
Yes.
Okay.
Chef Boyardee.
That's what that actually is?
Right,
Because
yodeling. Where'd that come from?
It's not yodeling?
No, not
This is not yodeling.
Yodeling.
Very, he's very.
That's a fine, I think. Yeah.
Yodeling.
I think Stugotz is right on this one.
Right.
I'm not fined for that. That's $1 for Stugotz for fining me for something that's not a fine. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
You got a name wrong. You got the name of this music wrong.
Right, yeah, it's not yodeling. And finally, number 5, time it so you're not sitting down to your big meal as the best of the 3 football games is kicking off, and have plenty of booze. That's how to host a Thanksgiving Day dinner.
Yeah.
Yes. Greg Cote, marvelous hosting. The spirit of the week is upon us.
Don Batard.
There's fascination in power rankings. In fact, I'm coming out with a power ranking for power rankings, which ESPN's NFL power ranking right now is debuting at number 3 on my list.
Right.
So it's a good power ranking.
Stugotz.
Who's 2 and 1 on that list?
Well,
This is where his story falls apart.
No, because it's it's a non-ESPN entity, so we don't want to air it on this
How'd he play?
airtime.
This is the Don Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. The Dan Le Batard Show is brought to you by Pennzoil Synthetics, taking synthetic motor oil performance to a whole new level. Make the switch to Pennzoil Synthetics today. Guest on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance line. Here's your SportsCenter update. Monday Night Football, Falcons beat the Seahawks 34-31. Great game, entertaining. Blair Walsh had a chance to tie the game in regulation for the Seahawks, but came up short on the field goal. Kyrie Irving scored a season-high 47 points to help the Celtics extend their 16-game winning streak by defeating the Mavericks 110-102 in overtime. And finally, late last week, Sony announced its acquisition of the new Quentin Tarantino film. Now, as the script begins to circulate around the studio, Vanity Fair has posted a preliminary plot synopsis. Set in Los Angeles in the summer of 1969, Tarantino's upcoming movie focuses on a male TV actor who's had one hit series and is looking for a way to get into the film business. His sidekick, who's also his stunt double, is looking for the same thing. The horrific murder of Sharon Tate and 4 of her friends by Charles Manson's cult of followers serves as a backdrop to the main story. Tarantino is said to be courting Margot Robbie to play the role of Tate. Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt are also circled for roles, as is Tom Cruise. Sony hopes to begin production on the film by the middle of next year, working off a budget of around $100 million.
That's his last one? Is that supposed to be the last one for Tarantino?
I'm not sure.
We don't believe that.
He has a set number. I got to see if this is that last one.
Right. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in to SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
That one's going to be interesting as the flames climb in Hollywood. Some people have been wrestling with the moral conundrum of if you're a fan of Louis C.K.'s work. Can you be a fan of Louis C.K.'s work and not of Louis C.K.'s behavior and separating art from the artist?
Tarantino only has 2 films left in his plan of 10 films.
Okay.
I think if anybody survives all this, it's going to be Louis C.K. just because of the kind of act he did and
The nature of what he did,
Yeah.
right? Comedian.
I'm not saying he will survive it, but I think he's apt to.
I want to ask you guys a couple of questions. I want to go around the room here in a second and ask the shipping container filled with frightened refugees. Thanksgiving dinner at an ESPN household, where would you want to have it? I heard that conversation taking place in my periphery during the break. And what I heard was an agreement was none of us would want to eat with Tony Kornheiser.
Oh, no. I mean, Thanksgiving at the Kornheiser house? Get out of here.
He'd be kicking you out at 5 o'clock.
He'd just be miserable from the second you get there.
Allison described it as her dream Thanksgiving is at Kornheiser's house.
Yeah, I'm with Allison.
Why?
I love Tony.
Allison, can I tell people what Super Dave Osborne said? He demanded, he made terms of agreement on when and how he would come on our show. He would be on our show, but only if he were allowed. Can I reveal any of this? No?
No.
Okay, very good. All right, never mind.
Way to tease something you can't deliver on.
Okay, I can't do it. My bad.
In terms of people at ESPN who I would most want to attend their Thanksgiving celebration, I think I'd go with Bob Lee, maybe Rex Ryan.
Interesting choices.
Well, I think Bob Lee puts on a great Thanksgiving. I really do. And I know Rex Ryan puts on a fantastic Thanksgiving. I was also thinking maybe Marty
but
Smith.
Those are two very different Thanksgivings, though, because I imagine, do you imagine, Guillermo, put this on the poll. Do you imagine Bob Lee's Thanksgiving to be a little stuffy? The Ryan household, I mean, there's turkey legs in the bathtub. Yeah, Rex is wearing a toga.
Just picture turkeys flying out of turkey fryers. It's very dangerous.
Right, but delicious.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. A lot of beer.
The Lee Thanksgiving, you need to wear khakis for sure and button-up shirt.
Great stories, though, right? I mean, you're sitting around Bob, and he's just telling great stories. I feel like that's what's happening at the
those are
Bob
such
Lee
different
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgivings you're talking about there. The Ryan household, there's going to be pizza.
A little bit of everything.
Turkey stuffed pizza.
It's taking place in a junkyard somewhere.
In Buffalo.
Yeah.
Oh, there is the possibility that this Thanksgiving's going to make you sad because Rex and Rob insist on walking around the house in their underwear, tighty whities. They just, because that's awesome. That's awesome, says Chris. Well, that makes it better. All right. Gavin, put it on the poll. Rex and Rob Ryan wandering around your Thanksgiving in their underwear. Awesome or awful?
Imagine a Teddy Atlas Thanksgiving. Yeah. I'd like to make this a holiday special for next year.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that'd be fun.
A Teddy Atlas Thanksgiving.
A reality just where ESPN just does 24 hours of Thanksgiving coverage where we're just checking in on the homes of ESPN personalities.
No,
that would be good.
I want it framed as a Teddy Atlas Thanksgiving, and if this goes well, we can get into a Teddy Atlas Christmas.
Yes. Oh.
Connor, do you hear me? This needs to happen.
Wait a minute. Why do you just want to make it just Teddy Atlas?
Teddy Atlas.
Why can't he just
not?
sort of be the umbrella host?
He is. It's sort of like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and there's all sorts of wacky guests that stop by his holiday home, like Stephen A. and him yell at each other.
About cranberry sauce.
Oh, my God. Thanksgiving
Like
at Stephen
blueberry
A's
sauce.
house.
Oh, my God, Stephen A's Thanksgiving.
Oh, that would be good.
That should be the name of the show, Stephen A's Thanksgiving. I mean,
Oh.
the Golics would have a good one, I'm thinking, right?
Marty Smith, you
Marty,
mentioned.
fantastic.
He would have a great
The
Southern...
Golics is going to be very family friendly. It's
Very
going to be
family oriented, very traditional. I'm talking no raisins in the stuffing.
This is what I'm
Right
saying,
on.
though, about the Bob Lee Thanksgiving. The Bob Lee Thanksgiving, I fear, is going to be so traditional that it's going to make you insecure about your Thanksgivings and how you haven't been traditional enough. And everyone's going to be wearing pants for sure.
But I'd like a different experience. I'd like a traditional Thanksgiving in Miami.
Yes.
I don't get your vintage Thanksgiving. And Bob Lee's, I'm talking sweaters over dress shirts.
Oh,
people.
yes.
See, no, but I don't want that from my Thanksgiving.
No, Bob Lee's Thanksgiving has the children doing a play about the history of Thanksgiving, and then you get sad and you're like, oh, my
Right,
God,
and
this wasn't great.
football's not even on. It's outside
of
the
course not.
lines
Yeah.
on all the televisions,
Right.
like Sirius reports.
And a soccer game is on as
Oh, my
well.
God, we're treating migrant workers poorly that are building a stadium somewhere.
Tim and Shap. On every television.
A Jeremy Shep
You're not even going to be allowed to watch football.
All right, you're right. You know what? I stand corrected. I don't want to go there.
And you know the Ryans are going to have football on every television. They're going to have old games. They're going to have, Buddy fighting Mike Ditka on the sidelines on a loop on one of the televisions.
A lot of people are saying a Dickie V Thanksgiving.
Really?
Yes.
Huh.
I still want this Teddy Atlas Christmas and Thanksgiving special developed.
Santa Claus.
Yeah. He closes him, dresses Santa.
Take the present, kid.
What's a Teddy Bruschi Thanksgiving like? Stiff?
There's no salt or pepper on the table.
Oh, no.
Oh, no gluten. No, everything's grass-fed.
No laughs.
Everything is nobody's allowed to laugh. Smiles are forbidden.
We will sit around the table and talk about what we're thankful for in silence, actually. You just meditate on what you're thankful for.
Which would be the worst of the Thanksgivings? Are we in agreement? Have we come to consensus that it's Kornheiser?
I'm not down for the Teddy Bruschi Thanksgiving.
How about a Grunk Thanksgiving?
Oh,
this is a food fight.
Be fantastic.
What are you doing? That's not. We were
That's a
doing
different
ESPN.
game.
We weren't doing all the sports. Didn't you realize the thread?
Oh, yeah, I forgot that Brewski was on ESPN.
All right, excellent work. Great work as
Pay
always.
that
Sorry.
man his money.
John Madden, he's still on ESPN.
Did you contribute anything to that segment other than the non sequitur at the end?
No.
Okay.
Don Batard.
I found this interesting. I thought that you might too. There's good friends and good women. Sometimes both won't do. When you're as drunk as you can get, high as you can be. I can't remember the next line. Da-da-da-dee-dee.
Yeah.
Da-da-da-da-da-dum.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Stugotz.
Cody's very proud of what I'm about to say, which is a strange thing to be proud of, which is when you hear him sing, you can't tell if it's a really bad good singer or a really good bad singer.
This is the Don Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Greg Cote of the Miami Herald in with us today, as he is every Tuesday. LeVar Ball is all over the televisions again because CNN discovered him yesterday. Ooh, look at Cody shaking his
enough already.
head. Well, but we didn't behave that way at the beginning. We are no longer where we were when he's become stale to us,
Right.
but he's new to CNN. And when he burst onto the scene, we enjoyed the beginning of that.
Some of us more than others.
All of us more than now.
Yes, true. That's true. That's true. I thought he would fall off the face of the earth once Lonzo's career began in the NBA, but man, I'm sorry to say I was wrong.
Just getting started.
Not
Yeah.
only did he not fall off the face of the earth, he is unencumbered by the fact that his son is awful. Like, that's not even stopping him. If that doesn't stop him, nothing will. His son has been a disaster.
Right.
His son is looking like a complete bust.
And
Had
his
a
other
triple-double
son,
last game, though.
and his other son was in jail in China. So despite all that,
I'm not saying his son is a complete bust. I'm saying the things that you're seeing from his son have been busty.
No doubt about it. Yes. Second pick in the draft. Yes, there have been some busty things about his play. You're right. But he can't shoot. Like, that's what everyone was saying coming out of college. He can't shoot, and he still can't shoot.
It's kind of a big one.
Yep. When you play basketball.
Kind of a big one.
Got to be able to shoot.
I'd be a real good scout if I could just ferret out all the time that one. I'd be, like, exceptional in my job. He can't shoot. We'll never be able to shoot. Slice that off right there and get it out of here. That will not work.
bad sport for him.
I do love that last game, though. 16 rebounds, 11 assists. He just can't shoot.
Well, but the thing that needs to be pointed out as it relates to that, you guys might be able to find some outliers on, Jason Kidd came into the league. He couldn't shoot. Different league. Like, not now. You can't be in this league and not be able to shoot.
Right.
Not when the value now is in three-pointers and we've changed all the numbers in the game.
I mean, he's 31% from the field, 22% from three. But he is 19 years old, 20 years old.
No, he can improve, but that is unspeakably bad. Like, that is busty. Mike, a compromise has been reached here by a texter who is writing in that this is how we should use the Hakeem Nicks laugh. If you're not familiar with it, Hakeem Nicks was on the show once. He was a terrible interview. Terrible. But he was laughing in a way that, Method Man might at the best of times. And so he kept laughing like that. And so now I've gotten a soundboard. It's the highest honor this show gives when that laugh is given to a joke. We have no better honor than that.
Yes. I have 2 today, and I'm not that anyone's counting, but I have 2 today, and I'm very proud of that.
Right.
Like, I am off to a great start.
Right. And so I've gotten control recently of the laugh, and there seems to be an objection in the audience if I give it to myself, but people like it when I give it to others. So this is the compromise, and I think it's a good one. I can only give the laugh to others. Mike is the only one who can give the laugh to me.
That's fair. Can Mike still give it to others as well, though?
No.
You're the only one that determines whether anything that anyone else says on the show is funny.
That's unlike Mike, which it's been Mike until now.
The only reason you have that board there was because I wasn't giving you the laughs you wanted.
That's right. Mm-hmm. That's right.
So you're going to put it back in my hands?
That's right. I think I should.
Let's just take that board out of there then.
No,
give me all the power.
No, you could take many of these things out of here. You could take all of this out of here.
That was
like all of this out of here. No, I don't want that here. We can keep this if you insist.
Excuse me.
That you can get out of here. That you can get out of here. All of them.
How about a compromise?
But I want the white guy.
Save the Boeing.
I want the white guy. Speaking of which, hold on a second. What do you think you find at Will Kane's Thanksgiving? I want that.
There's an art to it, though, Dan, especially the Hakeem Nicks laugh. Sometimes you need a softer laugh. Subtlety really, really helps with the Hakeem Nicks laugh.
Didn't seem like you went out of your way there to make that joke.
No, I got there clumsily. What? But I want control of the white guy's sounder.
How about a compromise? I get that board. Your board.
Oh, that's what?
That seems like a healthy compromise.
That is how Stugotz negotiates. You guys just saw it. You know what somebody just wrote in today? They said, I hope that when your show goes down in flames with the inevitable Stugotz fraud, Ponzi scheme, Nevin Shapiro thing, that the picture that they use is the one of him sitting next to you and your father on television yesterday. Some guy just wrote in, like when all of it goes up in flames. The picture they use is Stugotz is, that was a nice jacket you were wearing yesterday.
Thank you. You're the only one who thought that.
No, it is. It was a nice jacket. It didn't fit you well.
It doesn't fit me well. And I brought it back like 3 or 4 times to get the sleeves. Like they have to let the sleeves out to a certain length. I feel very constricted and restricted in that jacket. I don't like wearing jackets, man.
Nor do I.
Yeah, I don't like it at all.
When are we going to start giving the Celtics some credit?
Who's holding it back? They've won 16 in a row.
No, the idea that when are we going to start wondering whether the Celtics could do anything to the Warriors? I guess is what I should be saying.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be a percentage of credits. It should be is there anything that the Celtics can do in the regular season, anything at all, that will make you think that they're a legitimate challenger to the Warriors?
No.
Nothing. I mean, maybe there's something the Warriors could do, and that's get injured.
I know a lot of people are pointing and saying, weak conference, you're guilty of it. 538 just put something out there that so far the East has a 54-48 record against the West.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so far. I'd like that sample to expand a little bit.
It's that one team that tilts everything, though. I mean, if you're talking about the better conference, one team tilts all of it.
Right. It is good for the NBA to even be able to raise the question, though. You know, the idea that it's not just
But when can it be raised? Because I don't feel that that's where we are right now. I don't know. Like, when do we get around to the raising of that question?
20 more wins in a row? 36 games.
It's Dan, Stu, and Greg Cote on ESPN Radio.